Hello and welcome to Technology Made Clear. Today we will be looking at data validation, with data validation what that can do, and it can give you drop down menus. So rather than typing in data such as here for example, so this is your sales for say a fruit and veg shop. Now if you had to type in the data, you'd have to do that every time you made a sale, and you'd have to put in a sales date. Let's say that's today. So you sold a lettuce to a customer and that cost them 56p. You'd have to enter that as well. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So you use data validation. So whenever you use it to enter in the product, you use a drop down menu. And then because you're using a drop down menu, it means you're using an exact piece of data, as in lettuce. What I mean by that is you're not going to have people mistype it like that. And what that allows you to do, once you've got exact data, it allows you then to add a Vlookup to bring in the sales price. So at the moment, to do a sale, we have to do this. Lettuce, and then we have to put in the sales price every time. Now obviously you can imagine if they then also brought some tomatoes, that'd be quite time consuming. So I'll show you how to do it a better way using data validation and Vlookup. So this is the sales tab, and as you can see down here, it's I've changed the name to sales, and here sheet 2. It doesn't have to be in a new sheet. You can always do these things in the same sheet, but I would recommend having a separate sheet for data. This data here is your drop down data, drop down menu data. So I'd recommend keeping that separately. And as you can see, I'll put in some products that you sell. And then the best thing as well, because we want to also bring in the price, we're going to put the price there. So that's the product name, and that's the price. So we only have to enter it once, so 0.56 for broccoli. Let's say, no, broccoli is more expensive than that. I would say 75p or 75 cents, wherever you're watching this video from. Then lettuce, say 60, cucumber 45, tomatoes £1.45, potatoes £2.45, onions £1.9. Okay, so you've entered that data. Always good whenever you're using formulas. You don't have to, but I always recommend using name ranges. And what I mean by that, at the moment, that range is A2 to B2. But it's really, that would only be if it was that. So it goes down. So it's A2, as you can see, A2 is highlighted, and it ends B7. So that range is A2, B7. But it's best to name the range. So we will call that product pricing. You want it to be all one word. You don't want to separate it like that, because that doesn't work. Product pricing, and hit return. And then if you go back to your sales sheet, now say for example your sale, you can have this as long as you want, but we'll just put it down to there. Okay, and just stretch that a bit across. Okay, so here this is where we need to add the drop down. So you drop down or highlight the fields that you want to add the drop down to, and then go to data, and then you want to go to data validation, and then data validation again, and you've got these settings here. You can have the input message. This will let you enter a message when someone puts in information. So this is when they enter that cell, they could have a message, or an error alert is when they enter incorrect information. But we're not going to go down that route, but you can use that if you want to. So for the settings here, you want to change from any value to list. And then the source, and then you just enter in here the product, sale reference, or you can do the product pricing, which is what we called that, and press OK, and that will work fine. Or you can click there and then go and find that. Now the only range we want here, we don't want the full range because we only want this for the drop down menu, and that's for this here. So you just click that there and then press OK, and that's done that for you. Now as you can see, when you click on one of these cells now, there's a drop down menu there, and that allows you then to add like that. It's so much easier than typing because it stops you making mistakes like that, for example. And it's come up with that because that doesn't match the list, which is good. That's what we wanted to do. Now what we wanted to do now also is to bring in the price, because at the moment, yes, it now automatically does that for us, so we can make it so much quicker. You brought some broccoli, lettuce and tomatoes, but you have to then put in the price every time. So we also get it to do the price for us. So the way we do that is E equals Vlookup, open brackets, and then this is where you're looking up. So it's here where we're looking up. So it's B and it's row 2. So B2, comma, and then you've got your date range, which is there, and then comma, and then you want 2 for an exact match. Sorry, false for an exact match, sorry. Okay, and number 2 is for this here. So it's bringing back this information there. Press return. Now it's got not applicable. We'll drag this down so it's got them all. The reason it's got that is because there's a VLOOKUP and it's saying not applicable because you've not put any data there. Doesn't look the prettiest. You can actually get Excel to remove these NAs. We're not going to go into that in this lesson, but you can do. So now, for example, if you move that to broccoli, as you can see, it automatically adds the cost. So broccoli 75p, cucumber 45p, and that will match what is there. Broccoli 75, cucumber 45. So there you go. That's a really good way of seeing how to use data validation. And by using data validation and having exact values, it's a perfect reason then to use VLOOKUPs to add further data. And obviously this is just a very quick example, but this could be endless. You could have this for going along for however big you need, for depending on what sort of business you have. Okay, so I hope that's been useful, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe and please like the video.